Hey guys, so Lord here, back again with another action figure review. Today we'll be continuing our looks at the Ben 10 2016 Reboot figures with an original alien from the series. Kinda sorta. And no, his name isn't Water Hazard, his name is Overflow. This guy is of course brought to us by the fine folks over at Playmates Toys, and yes, like the rest of the Ben 10 fandom from the Prime era, very much surprised they didn't just call this guy Water Hazard. I mean, you already drastically changed the likes of Stinkfly, Wildvine, and even Upgrade to an extent. Why not just give him a name everyone already knows to maybe, I don't know, trigger the N-word? That's nostalgia for those of you naughty boys out there. That said, before we get too far ahead of ourselves, why don't we cut right to the chase and get into the meat and taters of this review and take a look, see at all Overflow has to offer in terms of accessories. And of course, he has a couple of water effects that you can plug into his wrists here. Are these his wrists? Maybe his forearms is a better way to put it, but they slot right in. They're a little tight, so be mindful of that. Speaking of tight, you can see the one arm on my Overflow is not the tightest, like, at all. It is in fact a little... It stays for the most part, but yeah, it's loose for me. This one, on the other hand, has some clickiness to it, which I imagine the other one's supposed to have. It just doesn't. I'm sure mine ain't the only one like that either. But there you go. He's got two water cannon things on his forearms, and that's pretty cool. That said, taking a closer look at the man in question, he does look very robotic. I've heard people say his design in the new Dynamite comic looks very reminiscent of a Transformer or something, and I could see that. That said, he's got some clear elements on his forearms and these two little water tanks up here. I will say, he almost looks like a mouse. A friend of mine said he kind of looks like a mouse because of the way the water tanks are up here and the way his kind of breathing apparatus looks. Kind of funny. He's got little stumpy feet. And yeah, all around a very robotic design for this character. Which, you know, is fine because we can always say that Water Hazard is the more organic looking water alien and Overflow is the more robotic looking one. That way they kind of differentiate the two. Not for nothing, not a lot of water aliens to choose from. You got Water Hazard and this guy. And I imagine this guy, since he has an Omni-enhanced version, probably a little bit more powerful. Not to give the Reboot too much cred, because I know that's blasphemy! Depending on which Ben 10 fans you're asking. But, you know, facts are facts, man. Can't deny it. Even though my boy will always be Water Hazard. I remember searching here, there, and everywhere when his Ultimate Alien figure came out. But at any rate, as far as this guy's articulation goes, obviously nothing in the head. He doesn't really have a head to move, so that's that. Shoulders can move out. They can rotate. He does have a swivel below the elbow as well as a hinge, so he doesn't get that bicep swivel. He does get wrist twist, though. So that's cool. Just to show you, like, this arm is just not stiff at all. I don't know what happened there. That said, he does have screws, so maybe I could unscrew this guy and swap that out with a tighter one at a later date when I find another one loose for, like, super cheap. Not opposed to doing that, it's just I gotta know it's tight first. That said, his waist will rotate. That's nice and solid. And then his hips can kick out, back down. They can rotate. He's got more of an in and out knee bend, just based off how he kind of stands. And then he does have swivel below the knee. So no real thigh cut, no real bicep twist on this guy, which kind of sucks, but you know, due to the nature of the beast, or in this case the alien, I guess it makes sense. And then he's got almost ball bearing-esque feet, which is kind of interesting because they do make that kind of clicky noise, which makes him feel more mechanical. I don't know, I feel like that's kind of a bonus for this guy. It's a hidden feature, as they say. But no, he's really cool. I dig him. I think he's fun. You know, for a new alien in the series, it's nice to see that he doesn't just look like a carbon copy of something we've already seen. Even if, yeah, he does give me water hazard vibes. Mostly because he's the only other water guy Ben's ever got. That said, the only other new aliens from the series, at least as far as I know, are Shock Rock, who we will be taking a look at when we get closer to the fall, as well as Slapback, who again, we will be looking at as we get closer to the fall. I don't want to bog you guys down with like a insane Ben 10 marathon, but I did like collecting this line when it was new-ish. I got into it a little bit late in the game, but it's neither here nor there. But I want to break it up. I don't want it to be like, oh my god, he's posted Ben 10 videos for a month, can we move on to something else? I like to have a little bit of variety on the channel, and I think a good solid 2 weeks of videos is long enough. So with that being said, why don't we move right along and take a look at some size comparisons. First up, here we have good old Overflow, alongside a couple other aliens from this Ben 10 2016 Reboot series that we've already taken a look at here on the channel, so please check those reviews out if you haven't already. Really appreciate it if you did. That said, we of course have Stinkfly and Upgrade. One redesign, not crazy about. The other one, I'm pretty okay with. And as far as scaling goes, maybe Overflow's supposed to be bigger, maybe he's not. I don't know. Can't really say, but they look good together nonetheless. So getting these two out of the way, so we can make way for our two regulars, the Mythic Legion's brother Mandibulith, as well as the infamous Levin Spawn, who, as usual, towers over everyone. So with that being said, it's time now that we wrap things up with some final thoughts. Overall, and while I'm still surprised that they did not decide to call good old Overflow here Water Hazard, I mean, Stinkfly, Wildvine, and Upgrade had pretty drastic redesigns, so I don't think that's too far of a stretch. I gotta say, I think Overflow as a character, as far as his design goes, he's fun. He fits right in with the Ben 10 roster, and I could honestly see this guy popping up in Ben 10 Omniverse or something like that. Maybe not Classic or UAF, but definitely Omniverse. That said, as far as the figure goes, he's a bit of a brick, a little hard to pose, and there is that loose arm on mine, but it's what, a freaking $10 figure? I'm not going to make too big of a fuss about that, especially since it's the arm. If it was the leg, I'd probably have to replace the guy. So, with that being said, if you guys enjoyed this review, until next time, I'll catch you guys later.